Good evening everybody and welcome to the Parish Council meeting on the 22nd of November 2016. First of all, the fire exit's where most of you came in, just downstairs. There's also one just on the other side of the curtain. I'm sure Ian Barrett will happily show you the way. Stand holding the door for everybody in the event of a fire. The meeting is being recorded, so if everybody could speak one at a time, that would be excellent. And just so that the members of the public are aware, there is a public open forum session, which is item 5 on the agenda, where members of the public may address the parish council or ask any questions or anything like that. Or if anybody would rather wait and speak on one of the agenda items this evening, if you could let us know at that point, and we'll try to accommodate you. First of all then, apologies for absence, please.
I've had apologies from Tina, she's not very well, and Peter said he'd be late.
Okay, any comments on those apologies? We're happy to accept those apologies then, please.
Yes.
Yep, lovely, thank you. Item 3 is the declaration of interest. Do any members have an interest to declare on any of the agenda items this evening, please? No? Okay. Item 4 is to sign the minutes of previous meetings, taken one at a time. The extraordinary meeting on the 17th of October 2016. Are there any comments on those minutes? Somebody propose that we accept those then? Stephen, thank you. Neil, you're seconding. Yes. All those in favour of accepting those minutes? And opposed? In fact, that's everybody, isn't it? Never mind. Thank you. Item 4B is the finance meeting on the 18th of October. Any comments on those minutes at all? No? You propose that we accept those, thank you. And a second, Neil again, thank you. All those in favour of accepting the finance meeting minutes? Sorry, was that everybody? No? And opposed? And abstentions? Thank you. And item 4C is the full council meeting held on the 25th of October 2016. Are there any comments on those minutes? Okay. Somebody like to propose that we accept those then? Neil, thank you. And a second, please. Jackie, thank you. All those in favour of accepting the full council minutes? Thank you. And opposed? And abstentions? Thank you, Sandra. Item 5 is the aforementioned public open forum session. If any members of the public would like to make any representation to the parish council, now is your chance. Anybody?
I'd like
Yes,
to say something on item 9.
Item 9, the recreation and amenities. Right, okay. Anybody else?
Would you like an update on the heritage trial?
Yes, please, if you've got one.
Waiting on DDC approval due 30th of November. If all that goes to plan, the plaques will then be delivered immediately afterwards. A large display board has been ordered for the pound, and if all goes according to plan, I can't see any reason why it shouldn't. We'll unveil the large display board on the pound at 10:30 on the Saturday the 17th of December, and all councillors are cordially invited to attend. By then all the plaques should be on display.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 6 then is to receive the police representative report. This month we have the October report and the September report that was missing previously. Are there any comments on the police reports, please? No? We're happy to receive those then. Everybody? Yep.
Yeah.
Lovely. Item 7A is to receive the planning refusals and approvals for October 2016. Are there any comments on that document which was circulated with the agenda? No? Okay. And 7B is to receive the minutes from the planning meeting held on the 26th of September 2016. Jackie, yes?
I wasn't on there, and I know I didn't go because I was on holiday, so I wasn't under absent or apologies. I wasn't under anything. I got missed off. Can you just add me? Thank you.
They've been signed though now.
Oh right,
They've
okay,
been
doesn't
approved,
matter
yeah.
then. That's
They've been
fine.
approved at the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you were. Put down on the apologies section.
Sorry, say
You're
again.
on the apologies.
You are.
Oh, thank you. I missed that. I was there. I take it back. I withdraw that comment.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
It's an apology, yes.
Vote to see if you accept it.
It won't be.
It's because it's not laid out in the same way as full council minutes, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously missed it.
Halfway down the page. Okay. So we're all happy to receive the minutes from the planning meeting, yes? Yep. Lovely. Item 8, Finance and Administration. First of all, we have the bank reconciliation. Does anybody have any comments on those figures at all? Are we then happy to receive the reconciliation?
Yes.
Yep. Lovely, thank you. And item B is the state of the parish council reserve. Does anybody have any comments on the reserves, please? No, happy to receive those as well. Lovely. Item 8C is to receive the clerk's report. Does anybody have any comments on the clerk's report? Jackie, again.
The mattress is still in the field. It's, I don't know where.
Yeah, I've had words with Daventry over this.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you knew.
It was, well, is it still there as of today? Do you know?
I don't know about today. It was
last
there.
week,
It was there Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay, I'll give them a ring again. They promised him to go in 48 hours when I spoke to him last week. He hasn't.
I'll check tomorrow and make sure. Then I'll email you.
Yes, Sandra.
On that note, I was speaking. Sorry, did you have your hand up?
That's fine, you can.
Sorry, I didn't.
Carry on, please.
Right. I spoke with Alan Lovell from Daventry because they picked up all of the litter bags, except for the section of fence. He said that he'll try and get someone to remove it. I'm just wondering, could they do the mattress and the fence at the same time? Possibly.
Well, the mattress is down on, well, now 2 separate things when incidents. So if I rang it again, it would go down under a separate number.
Okay. So I'll just leave Alan to try and do
Yeah.
the fence then. Okay.
Did you have your hand up, Neil? Did you want to make a comment on the
That's fine.
clerk's report?
Being answered.
All right, excellent. Okay. Any other comments on the clerk's report then, please? No, we're receiving that then. Okay. Item D is to receive the rolling budget for October 2016, which was circulated with the agenda. Are there any comments on the rolling budget? No. We're happy to receive the rolling budget for October then. Okay. Item E is to approve the insurance quote for the parish council van and the Kubota.
Yeah, the quote that I've got is from Kane & Company. I did look for another quote, but from Aon, which is who we have our other insurance with, but it was with the same insurance company as the Kane & Company, so they couldn't better it. And I didn't get one back in time from Zurich. But it's actually only £20 different
From last year?
which
So
I
what's-
think
what's
is
the
probably
figure?
related to the tax increase.
So what was it this year?
Yeah. So, sorry, it's £610.50.
Just to help.
Okay. Any comments then on the insurance quote, please? Yes, Neil.
Not on the insurance quote, it was merely an observational comment there. I saw the van the other day and the new signs on there look extremely nice. That emphasises the tardiness of the rest of the van. just an observation that was trying to promote from perspective. It doesn't look particularly great.
So we perhaps need more signs to cover the rest of the van.
Perhaps we've gone with those bigger ones.
Just wrapped
Okay.
around.
Yeah.
Thank you for that then. Any other comments on the insurance quote? Would anybody like to propose that we accept it? Neil, that's your proposal?
That is my point.
Excellent. And a second, Stephen, thank you. All those then in favour of accepting or approving the insurance quote for the Parish Council van and the Kubota? That's everybody, thank you. Item F is to report on the resignation of the clerk and agree the course of action for appointing a new clerk. So, don't really think anything else needs to be. The clerk's resigned, and we need to hire a new clerk. So, without going into the specifics of anybody's employment details, I would suggest, just to get the ball rolling, that we need to form some sort of working group to liaise with the clerk and NCALC and see about hiring a replacement. Any other comments? Did you have your hand up,
Just
Ian?
wondering, do we know the date?
The date?
Date of departure.
Well,
How quick we've got to be, I'm thinking.
did you
Well,
you want to
yeah,
discuss this?
I was hoping, because,
Well, in that case, we need
That's-
to look for a temporary clerk. In which case, it makes the urgency a little bit more for this group, if there's going to be a group, to get together to get an emergency clerk, like we did last time with John, if you remember.
I was before my time.
Yeah, well, we've got a group and work for it that way, to make sure we weren't left high and dry, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I think that's certainly.
in tandem. Maybe that we delegate it to this group, but the group must meet, I think, fairly.
Yeah, I think whichever councillors constitute the group will need to be able to meet frequently and regularly, because as you say, we do need to move quickly. We may need to look at hiring an interim clerk. So, are there any other comments on this? Does anybody have any? Yes, Sandra.
Well, we have got a personnel committee at the moment, so it seems maybe sensible that we could use those two people, because obviously they're familiar with what Emma does as a clerk. So that would be obviously Jackie and Peter.
Well, I think perhaps first of all we ought to find out who would be willing to do it rather than nominating others. So, is it? Sorry, are you indicating willingness? Right. Okay. Let's make some notes. Did you have your hand up?
Yes.
For willingness as well.
No,
Or you wanted to ask a question?
I did
Make a
want to ask a
comment.
question, but
Sorry.
I'm going to withdraw that question, so it might not be appropriate in a public forum.
Okay. If you feel it is an important question, it needs to be asked, we'll perhaps move this agenda item to the end of the meeting and do it behind closed doors.
Yes, I would ask whether that's possible.
Okay. Is everybody happy with that? We'll defer this item until the end of the meeting. Right. Okay. Right. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Item 8G then is to approve the bills for payment for November 2016, which are on the sheet in front of you. Does anybody have any comments on those bills, please? Are we... no? Any proposals on the... yes, Stephen?
I propose we pay our bills.
Excellent. That's a sound... Yes, Neil?
I second Stephen's
Thank you very
very
much.
good proposal.
Okay, in the absence of any other comments then, all those in favour of paying our bills, please. Everybody, lovely. Item 9 then, recreation and amenities. This is to report on further damage to the fence, which was raised at the last meeting, and I think photographs were circulated and are in the Dropbox, and further antisocial behaviour on St David's Recreation Ground. Did you want to speak at this point?
Yeah, well, I'd like to. It's not just St David's, but I don't want to deviate from that. I understand there was an incident on the same evening further down where there was a party and some glass was thrown onto the road by Stratton Road junction with Frampton Way. And also there was a evening going on at the social club at the same time, which meant there was a lot of children kicking and shouting at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Also cars revving up at past 12 o'clock. We also had a bottle, me and my neighbour had 1 or 2 bottles thrown at the back of our houses, which in my mind is just not on. I'd like to make a couple of suggestions. I also hear, before I make these suggestions, that the parents in this sports and social club are buying drinks for their kids so they can drink them in the topless play area.
You don't know that.
I don't know that for certain, but if that's the case, I would like that licence to be withdrawn from the social club. Okay? I've heard that from a neighbour, and I don't want to state any names.
Okay, but it is just
Like
gossip at the moment. Then there's no evidence to support
I've
it.
personally been around this field and seen no end of bottles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see an alcohol-free zone in that Tots play area, and I would also like to see a curfew order on it from dusk till dawn, because I don't see anybody having any legal purpose being in there at night. I'd like the council to discuss that and see what the feasibility of it is.
Okay.
I've seen some news in there the following night after the bottle incident, and some young lady had a carrier bag, not a carrier bag, it was a bag on wheels.
A wheeled shopping trolley.
Cram packed full of booze, which I made them leave the site and take the bottles with them. And also there was a young man who was absolutely smashed out of his brains, who had a job to stand up,
About 15,
14, 15, who would like to have taken a pop at my wife at the time, because we both went round there. Unfortunately he didn't take a swing at her, otherwise I think I would have taken a swing at him. Okay.
Really, I would have done.
But at the end of the day, something needs doing about it.
Okay.
Alright? I mean, everyone's aware of the mattress situation and all the
But
rubbish.
she did a fantastic job cleaning it up, because it was awful, wasn't it? It was terrible.
Did that mattress get taken away?
No.
It's down at the side of the
I'm
football
speaking
club.
to Daventry about that because they've been told about it.
Because one of the neighbours told me that's where it had gone.
Our neighbours, and again, it's hearsay, and you can't think, but a lot of them have said that this problem is not new, that from time to time, that, you know, they've been round there with their children and found bottles and cans and rubbish all over the place. I don't know what can be done about that unless anybody could, you know, it goes round and inspects it from time to time and, you know, sort of clears it up. I mean, if we're there, we can do that and report it. But a lot of people moan and groan about it and don't report it. They don't actually let you know. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any? Yes, Ian.
Linking on very much what the lady here said, I think people do need to report it, because when I spoke to Matt, and I did report this, damage to the fence as a crime, got a crime love which I gave to him, discussed it with Matt as well, our PCSO, who said It's the first I've heard of any trouble. I thought it's all quiet on that recreation ground. Now, be that as it may, I think it does need people to continually report it. Now, having said that, these young people, our young people, they do know the PCSOs go off duty at 10 o'clock. And I think they know that, and according to what I was told, they wait until 10 o'clock, then onto the field they go with very little opposition. So that possibly it's after 10 o'clock is a problem, perhaps, more than before 10 o'clock. Before 10 o'clock we've got our own resources. Yeah. Ineffective or effective maybe, depending on the occasion, but we have got something. But after 10 o'clock we haven't. Now, the other one is, the other end is a car park. Now, that's the bane of our life in the past, that car park's been, as to how to get it locked. We've tried absolutely everything. We gave Central Sports at one time, had a key behind the bar. That didn't seem to work. Then the parish council at one time, going back many years now, I think as a gentleman next door, had the key himself and tried to lock it as a resident. It just hasn't worked. I think on this particular night in question, the car park was troublesome. So again, that's... I
think it was noisy until 1 or 2 in the morning.
So the car park, with the cars, because I was told there's a party went wrong in Spratton Row, so Matt told me, and it moved then up to the recreation ground, and then mingled with the party that's going on already. So if that gate could have been locked when the original party finished, we may not have had that trouble. So that gate is a problem, I think.
The kids
so we really need to think about who needs to lock the gate.
That's one. And the other thing is late night drinking, because it's against the law. It's a non-drinking area. That there's a bylaw which prohibits drinking on the whole of the recreation ground, except in the curtilage of the Central Sports.
So one thing that might be worth considering then, given that the PCSOs go off duty and response officers will be focused on concentrated problem areas like the town centre, I don't know whether it's too late, whether the parish council wants to consider paying for private security patrols in its business plan, and putting some, getting a cost for that, putting some money into security, because obviously there's been the spate of burglaries and thefts from vehicles recently as well, and certainly the perception of crime and antisocial behaviour is extremely high. Facebook hasn't helped, but obviously it's only promoting awareness of what's actually going on. You had another comment?
Yeah, we have done this before, Chairman, with the skateboard ramp. Again, I'm going back a few years. We did have security people to come once to lock it up at night, and then odd occasions to patrol. And to be honest, it was not effective at all. But I do think, having said that, some of the residents took solace in the fact that something was being done. It did make people feel a little bit better, although the effectiveness was not good.
I think one of the reasons that they congregate in the play area is because it's dark and nobody can see what they're doing. And I was wondering whether perhaps security lighting, not on all the time, but the minute they went in there, lights came on, and I think it might put them off a bit. And if it was only on a movement detector or something, maybe it wouldn't be too expensive.
Can I come in?
Yes.
Hello. There was a party. The issue that we've got, I'm hoping to get earlier to the police report. The issue that we've got at the moment from a policing point of view is that we have suffered from cuts, left, right and centre. These cuts have come down from central government, so we're not going to argue that point. We're also suffering from sickness. We've gone down to 2 PCSOs on this area and 3 PCs. One of them PCs is currently off, as is one PCSO, which is Joe Wright, which makes me responsible for 40 villages. I am fully aware that both Brixworth and Moulton, by the very nature that they are bigger villages on our area, and it was something that Glyn told me many years ago when I first came onto this beat 4 years ago, caused us a big problem. I was aware, although I wasn't around, I was aware of all the background that was associated with a shop in Lesson Road, I think it's Lesson Road Way, where they had like 50, 60 kids every night, and there was all kinds of intelligence around that. So I was all aware of that and how it can affect the community. on a Friday and Saturday night, I do run an ASB car, which is basically going around and kind of tackling ASB issues and walking around the village, both Malton and Brixworth. Generally, what I find is not a lot. I find small clusters of local teenagers that have got nothing else to do other than hang around. And when it comes down to that, they've got cans of Monster, which is an energy drink, in their hands. They're not drinking alcohol. People quickly complain that they are, but the reality is they're not. The only time I've seen alcohol in around was after that party on the Spratton Road the other week, where there were bottles of alcohol left on the park. Now, whether that came from local youths or people coming into the village to go to the party due to social media is another matter. Social media also gives us a cause for concern, because the Brixworth Let Us Know Facebook page is there's people complaining on a regular basis about youths being a nuisance. What they're not doing is picking up the phone and contacting the police, which causes a problem. We also have to be aware certain people have been named on the Brixworth Let Us Know Facebook page as being involved in antisocial behaviour. To what level, we don't know. When you start naming people, that can then cause implications. Brixworth is a large village, but in some respects it's a small village. Everyone does know everyone. So when you start saying people put on Facebook, Fred Smith has done this, someone's going to go around Fred Smith. Someone may be hell-bent on going around Fred Smith's house and causing Fred Smith some aggro. So we have to be very careful of what we're doing. Facebook can be a very useful tool for getting community information out, but it can be a pain in the backside as well. Also, if we then launch any kind of antisocial behaviour or criminal investigation on anyone, how can we say, if everyone's seen on Facebook that Fred Smith is the local toe rag, how can people be impartial in any way, shape or form? And this is the thing that we are constantly battling. It is not just specific to Brixworth, it's other villages as well. Having said that, Halloween, for the first time in my career, walking across that park, St David's Park, on Halloween, I felt vulnerable. There was loads of kids on St David's Park on Halloween. We had no reports of antisocial behaviour the following morning. It's dark, and I think lighting would be a good idea. Parish council bylaws, alcohol-free zones, we cannot enforce them. We have not got the resources to enforce them. So, alcohol-free zones have actually now changed and they no longer exist. So any previous legislation that we had, the Antisocial Behaviour Act changed in 2014, and the old alcohol-free zones and designated public place orders went with that act. So we're now looking at what they call a public space protection order. However, it is enforcing that, and if we haven't got the resources to enforce it, how do we do it? Resources is something that they are looking at, they are fully aware of. The Police and Crime Commissioner, they are fully aware of those, but at the moment we are struggling. So we can try our best. I've got the names of 5 individuals who I have only got hearsay evidence so far of them being involved in antisocial behaviour. A couple of them have been given to me in a couple of unrelated incidents. I'm going to speak to an ASB officer tomorrow morning to see whether I can go round their houses and say, look, this is what we know what you're up to, this is a warning shot. It won't be nothing more than that, because it is just hearsay evidence. And these names have been people that have been named on Facebook. Anything else?
So, sorry, are you a PCSO or a PC?
PCSO Matt Taylor.
Right, sorry, I didn't.
I'm uniform.
I don't think I've seen you in uniform myself. That's.
The pleasure that
Neil, did you want to make a
in uniform sometimes.
Is it okay if I ask Matt a question?
Yeah, please.
A couple of questions, if that's okay. Just, first of all, thank you very much for attending tonight. It's very appreciated for you coming. Would you feel, can I understand your views on Facebook? That makes perfect sense. It is a powerful tool to get information out. It can also be dangerous. Do you see there being a benefit if the parish council, through its media activity, social media activity, reinforce the need for people to call the police if there is antisocial rather than naming them?
Yeah.
Would that help if we did that?
If they could promote, I mean, one of the things I came to the buildings and the buildings committee meeting the other day here, and one of the things that was raised was a notice board outside, and you can now see that that notice board has now got some really nice laminated notices on it. And I've put on there the 101 because a lot of people say they do not know the number to call the police, whether it's Brixworth, whether it's Moulton, whether it's whatever village it is. They do not know the number. Now 101 has been publicised, but people still don't know that number. People are still of the impression that you ring, round here you ring 01604 886 222 or whatever it was, or you ring Lynn's mobile. So that is one of the things. Please promote the 101 thing.
Do you have a copy of that poster electronically?
I don't, but I can send you one.
If you could send it to anyone, that would be great.
Yeah.
Then we could use that as part of a promotion to just every so often to reiterate it.
Probably have got one, because I just blew that up on the photocopy.
Yeah, no, if you have, it would be great if you could pass that to everyone, if that's okay, Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Second question, really, now, thank you very much for that from the Council. I was going to ask, would you, in your expert opinion, think that if for the council to put lights on would require a budgetary, would require it to be part of a business plan, which can't be done overnight. It takes some time to get into a business plan and structure it. If we were to go ahead with that, in the interim, if a security patrol, even if it was a temporary thing during this period of what appears to be a period of heightened activity, antisocial activity, it might be that as soon as the frost and the snow hits, that might start to drop down.
Normally does.
Yeah.
It normally does.
Yeah.
So the sprinkler system would be better.
Would it? And I don't know if it's possible if the parish council in an interim, if they were to hire a security patrol to do some checks over a period of time for a short period of time, from your perspective, would you feel that that's money invested sensibly, or would you consider it to be probably not worth it in the long run? I appreciate that in the past, security companies have had quite a bad rapport and have not been particularly great, but my understanding is they're far better regulated now, more professional in their outlook.
They are. This is not for minutes, but there are quite a few cowboys out there as well.
The meeting is being recorded, by the way.
Okay. Thanks for telling me. I don't know the honest answer. I would question what powers security patrols have actually got.
I don't think they would have any powers. I think it's more from the point of view of a presence would act as a deterrent. One
of the things that we did in Daventry, we used to have on the Grange estate in Daventry. One of the things they did there, I'm just thinking outside the box really, is how many people in this room will walk dogs around the village late at night?
I used to. I don't have a dog anymore. But
if you walk a dog, those that walk dogs, you see all sorts walking dogs. So one of the things we did in Daventry was a Daventry Dog Watch. where people would go out walking their dogs, and they would. We had a little business card, Daventry Dog Watch, and phone 101 and report stuff. So people are not going out of their way. It's not security per se, but if you could come up with some kind of, if we could working together, if we could encourage dog owners to actually come up with some kind of rota between them. There's God knows how many dog owners live in the village, and just report stuff. If they see something, report it.
That's all well and good, but if there's no funds there from central government, as you put it, for police on the ground, what's that going to achieve? You're going to make a phone call and there's not going to be anyone around to come and deal with the problem. I don't mean to cut you short. I'm born and bred in this village. Lived here all my life. And I have seen it all the way through. I've come down to the shops with my mother as a 6-year-old, and there's been youths outside the council offices. As I've grown up, and I admit it and I hold my hands up, I was promoted to one of those youths outside the library. Every single... We didn't cause damage. There was the odd few or whatever. We were just friends... congregating because there was nothing else to do, right? But guaranteed, without fail, we had police presence there every single night. Yeah, they'd come over, they'd get out of their car, they'd chat to us, they'd talk to us, and we built up a bit of a relationship with them. I think it was Simon, I think his name was. Back then he was a special. Yeah. And when a few of us got caught drinking or whatever, then yes, we were reprimanded, and it had an effect. But it all boils down to, I know obviously somebody spoke about having a patrol in the evenings at the recreation ground. That's all well and good, but somebody's got to pay for that. Is it not better to put those funds to better use? This is a very large village. We have a lot of children. We are going to get issues. There's no ifs or buts about it, right? There needs to be something for the children to do, and surely the funds that you're going to go and spend on patrols can be better put towards a centre or something to do for the children to do at night.
I think there is things to do for young people. For example, in the summer holidays, I took about 14, 15 young people from Brixworth away to Switzerland on holiday, including a couple of individuals who have got behaviour problems. But so I think there are things, and I think you're quite right. I think it's something for the young people to do would be good. Moulton has got a youth club that's run by the church that is quite successful. And they've had recently an organisation called Tough Talk come in. So they had a bit of a problem with a couple of them turning up with a bit of weed. So they had Tough Talk come in. Tough Talk is a couple of guys. One of them was a bouncer from Bethnal Green whose stories make quite a horrific story. He spent 7 years inside himself and now kind of found Christ while he was inside, and comes out to talk to young people about his problems and how he turned his life around. Quite an inspirational chap. But that is something that I think would probably be better spent, a youth club or something. We've got one for the little ones upstairs. I was there on Friday night, but maybe something for the older ones as well, that they don't want that structure. But that's finding the volunteers.
Sorry, hold on just 1 second, because several other people have got their hands up. Sandra.
We did have a youth club in the village for teenagers. It was closed down because they couldn't afford the rent. So I think 4 mums got together and set up a youth club at Brixworth Pavilion, and they asked for volunteers, and no one came. So what happens? youth club closes down. Everyone is willing to say, this is what we need, this is what we need. But lots of these organisations rely on volunteers. If those volunteers, if those parents, if those residents are not going forward to help these organisations flourish, I can't see how it's going to happen. Yeah,
I agree with you, yeah, but when you're saying obviously the youth club is shut down, I was a member of the youth club when I was 14, 15, up at the centre of Brixworth. Obviously it's shut down. But that building is sat empty most nights. Is it?
No.
It's not?
It's got brownies, guides, rainbows.
Right, okay, I do apologise.
Yeah, it's open every night. Yeah.
There needs to be something for them to do. Back in the day when I was 15, 16 or whatever, we were, and as much as people turned their nose up at it, we were given a little shelter next to the line marking hut, next to the pavilion. All the lads went in there, girls as well, and we'd sit there and we'd talk. But it was somewhere to go, and I'm not saying do it up there at the park, but it was somewhere to go. And then whenever there was the police would come round and they'd knock on the door, open the door, and the police would know where we were. It wasn't a place to hide out the way of people. It was a place just to go, and there was wooden benches in there, and we were left to paint it as we see fit or whatever, and we did, and we painted the inside of it, and there was benches all made, and that was where we congregated. And every night everyone met up there, and the police came up. How you doing? What's going on? Do you know what I mean? Everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. But we were there. We weren't roaming the streets. We weren't causing a nuisance outside the shops.
I think the key...
They need somewhere to go.
I think the key issue that we know... I mean, I've got another village where I put in a youth shelter because they were complaining about them in bus shelter. And I put in a youth shelter, and it does get used, although it's not a very big village, so you only get 2 or 3 in them. But it does get used. Other villages have got youth shelters. Old Barton's got one, so that's quite a large village that's got one. They put one in Dean's Hanger. They can be quite good, and yeah, providing they're planned well, you can make a hash of it really. But providing they're planned well, they can be a really good idea. Because sometimes all they want is somewhere to chill, where they can play a few tunes,
yeah,
and we know where they are.
It really did work, honestly.
We've already suggested that.
Okay.
I spent my life working with teenagers and working, during the day and in the evenings with teenagers, and I, know that there are several things in the village for teenagers to do, and there are also lots of teenagers who don't want to do those things, and that should be okay as well. And I think we need to get things in proportion, and I think it's terrible. No, I don't think most people don't mind. I think people are intimidated by groups of teenagers, but 99% of the time they're doing absolutely no harm. And if they're sitting outside the library, they're not necessarily. There is a perception that it's worrying. It's easy for me not to find it worrying because most of them will say hello to me when I walk past because I know them, and I know that they're mostly a decent group of kids. And I think most people know that as well. People aren't necessarily complaining about that. They're complaining about the litter and the damage that's done, and that doesn't happen all the time. So yeah, I mean, the idea of a youth shelter or whatever sounds nice, and it is a shame if they wreck the Tots play equipment, but there's not necessarily anything wrong with them being there. It sounds like a bigger problem has been problems caused by the social club and drinking and the cars revving, which, as I think somebody said, those 13, 14-year-olds are not the ones driving cars at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
No,
so I think we need to get it in perception, and those people, when there are complaints, we need to encourage people to complain, and presumably those calls are logged on 101, so we can build up a better picture of actually where the issues are. One bad evening is terrible for the people that live there. It's not nice for anybody to have to put up with that, but we need to maybe see that as a one-off, unless it turns out not to be a one-off. We need to have a proper record of this, or there needs to be a proper record of this, so we can, if we are going to spend money, decide where it goes and spend it proportionally. I did have another question earlier, which was just, it doesn't have to be answered now, but what response? I
didn't know what responsibility the social club had or which bit they were responsible for, or whether their responsibility covered the car park as well.
No, it doesn't.
Is this St David's Club?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think basically the thing that we need to take away from this in the first instance then is that we can, as a parish council, we can publicise the fact that the police need to be made aware of any problems so that they can build up intelligence and act accordingly. So that's something for our Media and Communications Committee to handle. Are there any other comments on this topic? Yes, Sam.
I think lastly, I think we do need to give credit to the police. They do stuff, as Matt says. They're talking to 5 people at the moment, but it's not something that they can put on social media and say, by the way, look, this is what we're doing. So that I think the perception from the residents is that the police are actually not doing anything.
We try. We've got a police website, and I try and put updates. One of the latest things, which would nicely come on to talk about, really, is agile working that I've been doing recently in the library. I noticed most people were looking around the room. I was looking at all the tablets. I've kind of pioneered. I've always been a bit of a technological geek, I think the word is. Pioneering the BlackBerry when they first came out, and now I kind of kicked off a bit of a fuss when they said that officers are getting the tablets, and I said, well, what am I then? But I've got a tablet, and I work in the library, and it gives people the opportunity to kind of discuss their concerns. During the school holidays, I sat in the library, and I had one person come up to me to report something. Strangely enough, that never actually got reported in 101, which was something that was occurring up at the church. Another person came up and said, hello, Matt. And then 50, 60 odd people walked up behind me and never said anything. So if Brixworth has really got a big problem, like it's people saying out on social media, why are there 50, 60 odd people walking behind me and not actually saying anything? Jill's contacted me about some individuals that are causing her a bit of a headache at the moment, and Mike sitting behind me just mentioned something to me earlier. So sometimes it may not necessarily be about engaging with those individuals. It might be being in the right place at the right time, and my ugly mush sitting in there on the tablet might be enough for them to think, actually, we'll go elsewhere. So it may not necessarily be about actually doing any enforcement whatsoever. It's being in the right place at the right time. These individuals that I know, I've heard about, done a lot of work with Moulton School with these about who are they associating together. However, I've got nothing concrete as yet to go to them and say, behave yourself yet. That's what I'm working on. Because everything is all anecdotally reported. But this agile working is key in being out there, being visible. And I've spent 10 hours of my shift. I've done 10-hour shifts where I've spent 10 hours in the community, and it's really a godsend at the moment. So that then kind of brings you on to what the future may look like with police office and community footprint. But that's another conversation to be had.
Okay, thank you, Neil.
Yep, one final comment. If is that something, this agile working in the library, you're going to continue? And if it is, if you were to make Emma aware where you are, again, we could promote and encourage? Or would you prefer that wasn't the case?
Because of the nature of how I do it, because I also want to try and catch someone up doing a bit of up to no good, I don't want to kind of... I can promote it, and I will do. However, what I always do when I work anywhere, is I'll tweet on my own Twitter. I've got an own corporate Twitter account to say, I'm working here. If you've got any issues, please come and discuss. You can, by all means, put something out on your social media saying, follow the local PCSO, Matt Taylor. Not only will they get the tweets, they'll get all the other stuff that I do. For example, this morning, Spratton Primary School, 56 kids safeguarded with blue butterflies. Last week, another primary school, 50 odd kids, again talking about bullying and stuff like that. Some of the stuff that I do in Moulton School as well that pretty much goes unheard of. Plus some rambling musings of not being a local village PCSO really.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've just got one last thing to add. Obviously,
this is a final
yes,
thing.
Sorry. Surely our hands are tied. If there's no money or anything coming from central government for the police on the streets, there's no deterrent for the children. If they know that, obviously, like was mentioned earlier, that the PCSO has disappeared by 10 o'clock, they know that after 10 o'clock they've got free reign of the village. When we were, as I said, referring back to when I was younger, there was police presence in the village all night. They'd be driving past, they'd be doing laps of past the library. If we were at the benches at the park, they'd drive past and they'd stop. There is no police presence in the village. So we could sit here all night discussing what we can do, what we can do. But if our hands are tied from central government with regards to police cuts, what can you...
But
we need to make it more about the carrot and less about the stick, then, presumably.
Yes, it's prevention rather than cure.
Yeah, and
but there is a police presence in the village, and you know the cuts. Yeah, it's created a bit of an issue, but there is a police presence, and if I have got names of individuals and I've got concrete evidence to go to them and say, look, this is what's happening, you know, it will be dealt with. A lot of the parents that I meet when I have gone out and visited them at home are very proactive. It's not the parents that are, oh, well, I don't care. It is, yeah, I will have a word with him. You know, that is 90% of all parents. Yeah, I will be having a chat with him. He won't be doing that again. And so it's that kind of thing. However, if they're just sitting outside sitting out here minding their own business, yeah, I might go up and have a chat with them, but I ain't going to do anything else. You know, what are you up to? What are your plans? You know, I'm not going to do anything else than that. I've got no reason to.
No, I understand.
Sure.
That, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. On to item 10A then, which is to receive the report from 2016 Community Speedwatch, which was circulated with the agenda.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, before we do, could we just thank you very much to everybody from the public who have contributed to the community debate tonight. It's really good to see people come in and have to get involved and having the conversation. Is that right? I'd like to make sure.
You can ask for anything to be minuted that you want as a councillor, so
sorry
hopefully Emma was able to write it down as quickly as you were speaking.
Sure she was.
Okay. Yes, the Speedwatch report. Did anybody did you want to speak about that? Okay, Howard Reeder's here.
Good evening. For those who don't know, my name's Howard Reeder. I'm the coordinator for Brixworth Speedwatch. And before I give you the facts and figures, I'd like to give a big thank you to the 15 volunteers who helped this year's Speedwatch, giving up their time, valuable time, to do the 3-week period, which we did. Our 3-week period started on September the 17th to the 23rd, and 59 cars were caught. On our second period, the second week, from October the 1st to the 7th, 102 cars were caught, and on October the 15th to the 21st, 72 cars were caught. This gave a total of 233. The total number of cars caught speeding at our designated sites, which we've got about 5 main ones. We've got 6, but we use the 5 main ones, which are down here. This year, on the Northampton Road, we caught 190. Last year we caught 49. On the Alcott Road, we caught 21 this year. Last year we caught 33. On the Arborough Road, this year we caught 15, where last year we caught 12. Station Road, we caught 5 this year, where last year we caught 18. And on the Spratton Road, we caught 2, and last year we caught 2. Most on the mornings this year we caught 170, and the PM was 63. Last year we caught 66, and on the PMs was 48. Now you notice that we've got a big jump on the Northampton Road, but this was mainly, we had a new site on the Saxon Road, that's the new Barrett Estate, where we caught 137 vehicles speeding on that section. So it made our figures high this year.
Is that, sorry, can I just ask, is that coming into the village or leaving it? Or did you do
leaving
both?
the village. We can't do it coming in because it's too near the 30 mile an hour speed limit.
So it's basically people accelerating off that roundabout like they used to? Yeah.
Coming round the roundabout, coming out of the village.
Right.
We caught 137 over the 3-week period. So we have got a major problem there. I have had 2 people ring me up who live on that estate wanting to join, to be volunteers, because they are really concerned. They say the speeding traffic, they're even overtaking on the refuges on the opposite side to overtake. He said they're just ignoring it, you know. I think the highest speed we recorded along there was about 50 mile an hour. That's coming from the roundabout in a matter of 200 yards, kind of thing. One of our major roads was Station Road some years ago, which used to be major on top of the list. That has come right down now to 4th. So I think we need to do a similar thing with Saxon Rise, put more signage and put 30 mile an hour on the roadside coming from the roundabout as they're going out the village. I know we've got a 30 coming in on the 30 mile an hour speed signs, but I think something must be done. But saying that, I think the 30 mile an hour will be moved further down once the doctor's surgery's been done. So
right, yeah.
I can look into that. I've also got 2 traffic survey reports, which the police put boxes down, information boxes, and they put them on this Spratton Road this year. And they put the first one up before we started our speed watch, and that was put up on the 15th of the 9th, and it was taken down on the 21st of the 9th, and over that period 20,000 vehicles passed through. So, now out of that 20,000, 15% were caught speeding over the posted speed limit, which is 30, so that equates to about 3,017 were caught going over 30, and 856 of them were doing actually over the 35 limit. But in more detail, they've got a section out here of motorbikes. 85% of the vehicles going over there were doing 28 miles per hour. That was motorbikes. 85% of cars were doing 31 miles an hour. LGVs were doing 30 miles an hour, and HGVs were doing 26 miles an hour. And overall, the vehicle average was 31 miles per hour. That was the week before That was in the September before we done our speed watch. The second survey they did was after we'd done our speed watch, and that was on the 31st of October to the 8th of November. And 13,207 vehicles were caught in the survey. Out of that was 1,670 were doing over 30.
What percentage is that, Howard?
13%.
13%.
Roughly, yeah. Of that, 368, which is about 3%, were doing actually over 35. And over the detailed information, like your motorbikes, cars, LGVs, the motorbikes were doing 26 miles per hour, cars were doing 31, LGVs was 28, and HGVs were doing 28. So the vehicle average came down to 25 miles per hour after we'd done our speed work.
Fantastic.
So, like our survey which we done, where Spratton Road comes at the bottom of this, we only called 2 speeding, the average in that was 25 miles an hour. So the two equate really, what we did and what the police have done. Meaning Spratton Road is a low profile. I know some people would say, oh, I've seen cars speeding there, but they're mainly probably 6 o'clock in the morning or late at night, but not about it. So that roughly concludes our survey.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we'd all like to thank you for coordinating Speedwatch, and our thanks to the 15 volunteers as well. Neil, did you have your...
I really wanted to, again, just reiterate what you said, thank you, Howard, and you would be happy for the Parish Council to promote those figures through its media, social media activity?
Yeah. I've also said we'll enter for next year as well to the police.
Okay.
So whenever we get our dates and whatever, then I'll start doing it again like that. But, obviously, the more volunteers we can get, is less on the existing volunteers to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Ian, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, unless my sums are very far wrong, based on those figures and how it's said, the number of cars using that road, does it come to 750,000 a year? Does the figures represent 750,000 vehicles a year travelling on that road? In which case, it does put the safety in perspective. I know we're concerned about accidents, and one accident is too many, especially if you're involved in it. We mustn't lose sight of that. It does show perhaps that road's not quite as dangerous as some people perceive. With 750,000 and most of them being safe journeys.
Brilliant, thank you. Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a message for Howard, really. I'd just be grateful. Now I've done the board, I noticed some of the information that was on there was somewhat out of date, shall we say, and it looked a little bit shabby, which I know, appreciate was not everyone else, I think it's partly, most of it was our fault really. But if you could email that to me, I can laminate it, and then when I next come down into the library, the results, I can just stick it on the board so it's there, as well as the e-form. For those people that may not have access to the internet, they've got access to it at the information point.
Well, I usually put one up on the board anyway.
Yeah, but email, I can laminate, unless someone else got laminate, but I can laminate it so it makes it all look nice as well. I can do that in the office.
Okay, lovely. Sandra?
I think with Station Road, obviously there was speeding going on down there, and so the police put a speed camera van down there, which I think was quite a shock to to drivers. And I think since then people have become much more cautious because they're thinking there might be a van there ready to clock me. And I think also we put the little village signs up, didn't we? It said station cottages or whatever it is. So I think again that just makes people go, right, okay, we need to slow down. And I'm thinking that with the road going out, Northampton Road going out by Barrett's Phase 1, a lot of people are used to it being a higher speed. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but it is habit. And people just need to get out of that habit. And I'm just wondering whether having a speed camera van down that road might just get the
I've already
message across.
spoken to the chap who does it,
Okay.
Gary Wright.
Yeah,
It's where does he park his van?
yeah. But there is quite a big lay-by down there, though.
Speed camera, safety camera van sites have to be risk assessed.
Yeah.
And not only do they have to be risk assessed, they have to ensure that that we are legal. Otherwise, it counts as covert surveillance. So they all have to be risk assessed and checked. It's not just a case of parking a van up and pinging away. Because if you get a big traffic lawyer, they will turn around and say, well, actually, I just couldn't see the van.
Yeah.
So, yes, I know there's a big lay-by down there, but we would have to... it is a question we can ask.
Yeah. What did Gary say about the possibility of putting a safety van down there?
It would be awkward.
Awkward.
There's nowhere to park, really. I know you're talking about that lane where you're going there, but you can't block that off because it's people go down there and vehicles go down there.
Park up, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that lay-by further down on the left-hand side, though, isn't there? Just before you get to the...
That's where I was thinking.
Yeah.
The lane being Mary Tom.
Yeah, but
I was thinking
he'd be out the 30th. He would be out the 30th.
Unless...
Does he have to be inside the 30?
Yeah,
You can't just
inside the 30.
target people who are inside.
Yeah. He has to be inside.
But when the surgery's built, the surgery's been extended. And
But that's going to be years away. There's that nice parking strip next to KPD that is used for parking vehicles, apparently. So, okay, all right, thank you very much.
Okay.
The next item then is item 10B, which is to discuss a letter from Care and Repair, Daventry District Council, regarding resiting the bus shelter on Spratton Road to allow for vehicular access to a property on Spratton Road. Oh, is it? Okay. I think we're going to be pausing on that, I'm sure. Does anybody have any comments on that document that was received? Yes, Sandra.
I know that the email said, could you, in theory, approve the removal of the bus shelter, etc., or in principle, could you approve it? And I'm not a huge fan of, sort of approving in principle. It's got to come to the parish council as a proper planning application or whatever, rather than in principle.
Okay.
And also, we haven't got the money.
That is a significant sticking point, isn't it?
So either to remove it and move it down, or to replace it with a brand new one. It's just not in this year's budget, is it? So we're going to do something like that. So we couldn't even consider it until the next time we look at budgets, which would be sort of slightly before this time next year.
Okay.
Well, we haven't agreed the 2017-18 budget yet, so we could, in theory, put it in next year's budget if we felt it was appropriate. I'm not saying it is, but I think just to clarify, maybe I've got it wrong. What they're saying is they're looking for the parish council to commit to moving it, and then they will request planning permission for something else. So it's not planning permission for moving it. Well, I think, if I understand it correctly, they're asking us to move it before they and commit to moving it. But I agree, we can't commit to moving it. A, unless until we agree it needs moving, or it should be moved, and B, if we've got the money to do it. So it's kind of a new point right at this moment in time.
Okay. Ian?
If you want the money for moving it, I would suggest you approach the people who use it the most. I'm told there's 2 buses a week called Paul up there. I believed it was 3 at one time. All of them are run by Tesco, nobody else. It's purely Tesco customers, I'm told, who use it. And the Tesco have got a community fund available from each branch, and I was hoping to get a grant for the roof repair from them, 'cause it seems fair if they use it for their customers, they pay for the bus shelter. Now, I couldn't get that through in time before you made the decision to repair the roofs. Okay, fair enough. I would say it is in great need of repair, the pointing, at the back, the many courses of cracks going along where the bricks have come away. It's going to need more attention before long, I think. And I think perhaps we should, maybe at this stage, approach Tesco and say, you're community-minded. Can you give us a new bus stop, please? That won't be maintenance specific. It'll be a modern, easy-to-keep one. Then they can erect it further up the road and everyone's happy.
Okay. Is this, when you say further up the road, you mean in between the two traffic calming chicanes?
Or whether highways would suggest to be the right place for it. I mean, I wouldn't want to commit to sales to a particular site that might not be suitable.
Okay. Okay.
But at least at this time, explore with Tesco the possibility of maybe funding one.
Okay.
If they do, we've got an option.
Sorry.
I was going to suggest, I've never known that bus shelter get used other than probably by the Tesco's bus and the school bus. And a bit of a tip as well. Before I was PCSO, I drove for a few years for Country Line. Therefore, I know the Tesco's contract. It's Tesco's Western Favour you might need to tap up.
That's all.
So.
Okay.
I didn't tell you that.
On the record.
Too late.
Okay. Any other comments on this?
They should write back. Sorry, we need to respond, but until it's in the budget and is available, and until decisions is made to move it, we can't make any commitment on it.
Okay. I mean, my personal feeling is it's. I mean, I don't know what it's going to cost, but numbers like 8,000 were thrown around when we talked about it previously. This has been dragging on for 2 years, and we're no nearer deciding anything, which is why we agreed in the end to replace the roof. And I understand the residents' concerns, but it says allow for vehicular access to the property. They have vehicular access. Either they or the previous residents or somebody has concreted over the grass verge, and they do drive up and down it anyway. It's just that they don't have a drop curb. Now, I mean, not being part of any sort of higher planning or highways authority, I wouldn't know, but I suspect that they're not going to be given a drop curb because of their proximity to the traffic calming, regardless of what we do with the bus shelter. So I would be inclined to say no, we're not going to move it, because apart from anything else, if it goes from in front of their house, where it's been for decades, it's got to go in front of somebody else's, unless it goes in front of the park. I don't see it as a huge, as a massive need that requires such a massive expenditure, personally speaking.
I couldn't disagree.
But the bottom line is, if we want to agree to recite it or investigate, someone needs to propose it, someone needs to agree it, and it doesn't look like anybody's doing that.
I agree with your comments, Chair.
Well, all of them. Okay, excellent. That's nice. I'll make a note of that. Are there any other comments before we move on? Yes,
Only to ensure that we do respond, because we need to respond. To explain that, I think I agree with Kevin, you're totally right. I agree with your comments, and that's what we should express back.
Okay, then in that case, I will propose that we respond to the letter saying that the parish council does not intend to move the bus shelter at this time.
I would second it.
You'll second that?
I would.
Thank you. All those in favour of the motion, please. And opposed? And that's it, I think, isn't it? Any abstentions? No? Okay, thank you. Item 11 is to receive a request from Daventry District Council for agenda items for the next Parish and Town Councils meeting on the 15th of December. If you've seen the email from Daventry, by the way, you'll see they also ask that we let them know who's coming, and I can't make it to that one, so I've asked Kevin to attend in my stead, as he has previously, and he's agreed. Is everybody happy with that? Any concerns at all? No. Excellent. Okay. Is there anything that anybody would like to suggest for this meeting?
Sure, Kevin will have it covered.
Okay, fair enough. We'll just consider that received then. Item 12 is to receive the report from the November surgery and to agree parish councillors for the next surgery on the 3rd of December. Are there any comments on the report? Sandra?
What does Mr. Humphrey...
Sorry,
I know I said it. What does this resident mean by expand the Remembrance Day parade, Jackie?
He wanted to make it a bigger, better parade with a lot more people and a bit more pomp and circumstance, and I suggested he speak to Mike about it.
Fabulous degree of pomp and circumstance.
You may speak to the pomp and circumstance.
Absolutely.
We trebled the military contingent. I'll have
Well, he was there. He said he was going.
Oh, good.
So,
well, I hope he appreciated the trebling of the military contingent.
Was it, sorry, just on the subject, Mike, do you think that, do you feel that the parade was smaller this year than last year?
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
We didn't have the guides.
The guides and brownies.
Guides and brownies had a weekend away. So we knew a week before that we wouldn't have them. And so in terms of children participating, we were down. But in members of the public participating, we were up. I always go on Chloe's numbering. She reckons you can get 200 people in the church. Now we get more than that because those attending will have seen we pack the children in the first 5 rows. We also have them in the choir stalls. So we have, I reckon, about 230 seated. I counted 38 standing, which exceeded what we had last year.
Oh, fantastic. Not for people standing, obviously, but
no,
yeah.
But it's the largest venue we have, and it was packed to absolute capacity and more. Now next year, if we have the guides and brownies back and the rainbows back again, we'll have even more people standing. That's all we can do. It's the largest venue we have.
Okay.
We had more people stewarding. Many parish councillors helped for that. We had traffic bollards, which we didn't have before. We had a corporation for the Kia. And we were blessed by brilliant sunshine.
Excellent.
I think it was very well attended.
Thank you. Okay.
Conducted. The only thing we didn't have, if you were there, was a bugler. That's because his wife was giving birth. Which is acceptable excuse this time. Not next year.
As long as he doesn't make a habit of it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Are there any other comments on the report then? Sandra?
Yeah, so, sorry Jackie, the parish council should join with the fire station to promote fire safety education. Don't they do that via the school?
Yes. Again, it was mooted that maybe with support of the parish council, they could perhaps do a bit more. Not quite sure what.
Yeah, so
I suggested again that maybe he needed to talk to us or write or come along to a meeting.
Okay.
Certainly, I think we'd be open to hearing his ideas.
Yeah.
Did you? Yes,
Well, I was going to say you could perhaps refer him to the guides, scouts, brownies, because we all do trips over to the other fire stations.
Right.
Yes.
He
We'll go
is the
to-
community officer
yeah.
for Brixworth Fire Station.
Yeah,
So
so if they want to invite us,
okay.
we get a lot of invitations from other places. So.
As a scout leader in one of the other villages nearby, or was, we went to Mearway and we went around Maze, and they had wow of a time. I know Sarah Postlethwaite, who is, because fire and police are kind of hand in hand a little bit now. Staff officers way the community engagement officer for the fire service, but also police as well, so they do road safety and that kind of thing. I know she was talking to Spratton, saw on Twitter, Spratton Scouts and that kind of thing. So they do go out there and they do stuff. But yeah.
Okay. So you've got these contact details anyway, haven't you, in the book?
Yes.
So will you be able to suggest that the resident liaise with the Scout and Guide groups and those associated? Any other comments on the clerk's report?
Yeah,
Yes.
obviously, the double yellows, are they going to be put on the right Froxhill Crescent corner?
They will do, but when they do it, I don't know, because I have to use a special piece of equipment. And they'll just, what they'll do is they get lots of
jobs
areas where they're going to be removing them, and then they use it. Well, it probably won't be straight away.
No. And then, sorry, finally, the road signs. Kevin, didn't we look at the enhancement gang to do the road signs, and didn't they say it's not actually the responsibility of county council to clean the road signs?
It's county council,
yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's county council.
So it wasn't going to be something that the enhancement gang were going to do.
Yes, we put it down.
So who apart from obviously that one on the Spratton Road, Northampton Road was cleaned.
Really well.
Who did that again? I can't remember who
I
did
have
that.
no idea. No idea who cleaned that one.
Good job with highways, you're not supposed to touch them. Well,
somebody needs to clean them.
So what are we going to do if it's not county council, even though highways is county council?
If it's dangerous, then they've got a duty of care to clean it. So we would need to know from the person which sort of signs they refer.
And have you reported them on Street Doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Can we contact the resident with that advice? Excellent, lovely. Okay. Any other comments? Well, any other comments on the surgery report then? Okay, in that case, volunteers for the surgery on the 3rd of December, please. Wow, what a time!
I can do it.
Thank you, Jackie. Anybody else?
I'll do it.
Stephen, thank you. Jackie and Stephen. Everybody happy with Jackie and Stephen running the surgery? Lovely. Thank you very much. Item 13 then is to discuss the potential to award an honorary freedom of the parish of Brixworth as prescribed within the Local Democracy, Economic Development and Construction Act 2009. Neil, you've been doing your homework on this, I presume?
I have, yes. It's just really an idea, and I'm stressing I don't want to suggest at this moment any recipients. However, there are a number of people who within the village who do a lot of work voluntarily, a lot of them unsung, and have done for many, many years. And as a parish council, under this rather elongated and bizarre act, they actually reinstated the powers of the parish council to an award and an honorary freedom. Now, the rights it provides are absolutely zero. It's purely honorary, but there are a number of councils, and I believe Emma sent out some examples of some councils parish councils within the country who have done it and had made a very nice certificate and made an event of it. And it's just something that thinking about some conversations we've had about how can we recognise certain people in the village who have made a large contribution. I did some research, and this appeared to come back as the best way to do that. And it could be something that if the council agreed that we could either do it as a one-off for a specific recipient currently, or something that we could do every year and ask the residents to nominate people within the village, something from a community. The council would first of all agree the potential, and then we would need to agree a candidate for it. I would say that if we are going to something that you consider to go forward with, and we would be discussing a candidate, I'd like to move it to the section, with the greatest respect to the public, of discussing it confidentially within the council, so that if we were to come up with a name, it remains as, we can make it as special an event as possible, so that person does not become aware of it before it happens.
We can have a gold envelope.
It was just an idea.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on this, please? Yes, Sandra.
So is this something that we should put a little working group together to just sort of thresh it out, do you think?
There is, at the moment, if it's okay to answer,
yeah, by all means.
At the moment, the idea was generated from a specific idea from somewhere, which would make it relevant to do today. Oh, not today, but within this short period of time. If it was something, it's current, good word. It's current, yes. So I would say a working group going forward perhaps is a good idea, or an existing group could do it. But there is a current opportunity to utilise such an award if we so wished.
I think we'd have to be careful. Obviously, I'm aware of the background, and I think we would have to be very, very careful and get solicit nominations from the public, and then invite votes. I think it would have to be done very openly, because otherwise you run the risk of it becoming a non-event amidst accusations of cronyism. So, whilst I support your general goal and your specific goal, I think the general goal is the one we should aim for, and perhaps either a committee or working group should be set up, to investigate the costs, because there'll be costs of designing and printing a proper certificate and holding some sort of ceremony and everything else, which will need to be budgeted for to suit, and B, to liaise with local media to solicit nominations. That's just my suggestion. Any other comments?
I wouldn't. Sorry, someone else speak before I do.
I don't know that anybody else wants to speak.
Okay, right then.
Okay, go on then.
I would agree, not disagree with your sentiments entirely. However, I think the parish council should have, and I would agree that it needs to be debated. What I didn't want to do was to have that particular debated in an arena so that those names go out. But I think there's a relevant case, and I don't disagree with the sentiments, but I think there's some validity in what was discussed, considering the current opportunity. It's very hard.
Can we talk about that later then? Because I'm really confused now.
Okay, should we move this one to the private section as well? Does anybody want to do that? Yeah, okay. Oh, sorry, Claudia.
I just thought I'd comment from a point of view as an interested observer whose activities in one way or another have touched on some of the things you're doing. I think you need to be clear whether you want to use this freedom as a parish council controlled thank you for somebody who's done something really worthwhile in the village, or if you want to use it as something that is basically open to the people in the village for them to put their nominations forward and for them to also vote. And I think the two things are quite different things. I think the first thing you need to decide is which way you want to go. But what I wouldn't do is a pick and mix.
Okay. Thank you.
We'd just like to say that thank you very much to Claudia, who has clarified what I was trying to say perfectly.
Yes, well, I can't disagree with it myself. Okay, we'll temporarily shelve that then for the next bit. Item 14 then is to agree the meeting dates. Can we do that in public? The meeting dates for 2017, which was circulated with the agenda. Does anybody have any comments on those dates? Yes, Neil.
Only, just not necessarily the date, so you might tell me to move my comment to another place. But I was under the impression we were talking that we might move this meeting, the parish council meetings, to the village hall if we pre-booked. Has that been coordinated with the dates and potentially go forward?
No. Jackie?
Stephen and I looked into other venues for holding this meeting, and at that time the village hall wasn't available on a Tuesday.
No, but my understanding was that only because it was already pre-booked. If we pre-booked far enough in advance, and it was available at the time we book it, we could have it. But we might need to do it for the whole year if it was something we'd need to do.
Yeah, well, I think, as I understand it, the drama group has the village hall on a Tuesday, and they have a pantomime in January, and after that they won't have it booked. So if we wanted to,
someone has to do it.
Okay.
Exactly the point I was making. There is, if we wait until the end of January, it will be too late. But if we're setting dates and agreeing dates, we could agree that. I just think the facilities, whilst nothing wrong with the facilities in here, it does make it a little bit wider and a little bit more room for people to sit.
Yeah.
In the hope and intention that we encourage more members of the public, thank you everybody for coming tonight, to come and work with us.
Okay, yes. I think that's a valid point, and something that we can certainly move forward with in the future. I think if the parish council agrees.
For the next meeting?
Sorry?
Perhaps put on the agenda for the
next
meeting?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's just one small point. It's just only a day. It says annual parish meeting, Tuesday the 18th of April, 2016.
Yeah. The date's right there, but it's just the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the year.
It's but that is actually Easter week. So that's Easter Tuesday, I think.
Oh, after Bank Holiday Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Move that to something else. Then.
Which is perhaps a good idea, having it then,
Well, I'll have a look. I'm just trying to think when you might want to.
So we're saying Easter is across the 18th.
18th, yeah. Easter Monday. The 17th
Yeah,
is Easter Monday.
it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people might be away.
Yeah.
Half terms and whatever.
I don't think it is the school holiday though.
It's the end of the school holiday.
I think that's the day they go back because they've done it different. It's not Easter
'Cause
weekend,
it's
isn't in the middle because it's so late. It's the
So
last
late.
weekend.
First
So,
of April is the start.
Okay.
so obviously, sounds like
Well,
we're planning to be away.
based on that information, then I'd be happy to leave it at the 18th. Anybody else have any comments?
I know the children's play.
Okay.
Okay.
Miserable.
Well, actually, that'll be 17. I'll redo that again and send it out.
You don't have a choice.
So you're going to redo the
Redo the
with
year.
2017, but the dates themselves are accurate, aren't they? So we can agree them knowing what they actually are, can't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any other comments on the meeting dates? Do we need a proposal for this? No. We're just everybody happy to accept those dates then? Lovely. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Right. Okay. Then we come down to. We'll go with we've got items 15, 8F, and 13 to contend with, all of which require discussion of confidential and or sensitive information. So I will propose that for that reason the press and public are excluded. Is there a second, please? Neil, thank you. All those in favour of excluding the press and public at this time?
With apologies.
That's all right, we're getting the pub.
Sorry, Simon, have you yet to vote?
No, I said...
All right, that's everybody then. Lovely, thank you. Right. Please take all your belongings with you, and if any parish councillors are recording the meeting, I'd ask you to switch those recording devices off now, please. Right, okay.
Hello.
Call everybody back in.
Sorry? They're all in my car.
Can we get them now?
I don't think we finished. No. Have we?
No.
We'll do it in a minute.
In you come. In a minute.
Literally 1 minute.
We finished the private bit.
You need to be here though.
Okay, so we are over the 2.5 hour time limit. Is everybody happy to continue just for these last few items?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, okay. First of all then.
Can you start the timer again?
It's recording, yeah. First of all, on item 8F, which is a course of action regarding the replacement of the parish clerk, I propose that a working group is formed which will have the power to interview candidates, hire an appropriate candidate, and also hire an interim clerk should it become necessary. Is there a second? Elaine, thank you. All those in favour of the motion, please. Everybody. Thank you very much. Kevin, did you have a proposal regarding the membership of that group?
Yes. I propose that Stuart, Co,
yes.
Neil Brown, and Jackie
Bird
are the three councillors to take that forward.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Sandra, thank you. All those in favour of the motion, please. Everybody, thank you.
Well, Ian abstain.
Yeah.
Ian's not here.
But he upset.
Ian's not here. No, this is the vote.
That's the vote?
This is the vote.
Okay. We did that earlier.
Yeah, but we didn't vote earlier.
Okay.
This is the vote.
This is the vote.
Okay.
Councillor Bell has left the meeting.
Item 13 then, regarding the potential to award an honorary freedom of the parish of Brixworth. Neil, did you want to propose that this is passed to the Media and Communications Committee?
I propose that the subject of an honorary freedom of Brixworth be passed to the Media and Communications Committee to evaluate further the opportunity.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yes.
Steve, thank you. All those in favour of the motion, please. Everybody, lovely. Okay, item 15, to agree instructions for the solicitor. I propose that we instruct the solicitor to calculate the net amount, including interest stated in the judgment, from the date stated in the judgment, which we will then pay within the timescales stated in the judgment. And we further instruct the solicitor to write to the Employment Tribunal regarding hearing our application for costs. Is there a second? Jackie, I think that was your hand. All those in favour of the motion, please. That's everybody, thank you. Okay. Item 16. General correspondence. There is some general correspondence. That's pretty much it. By all means, ask if you would like to see it. Item 17. The dates of the next meetings are: there's a planning meeting on the 12th of December. Media and communication is on the 14th of December, and the next full council meeting is on the 20th of December. I have not been notified of any urgent matters to report. Okay. Thank you all very much for coming and for your forbearance. Have a very good evening.